Musician great man, born Tomai Gwes, has become the face of a campaign that has shaken Zimbabwe, inspired thousands, and quietly exposed a deep national problem. His mission to source wheelchairs for the differently abled has grown into a national conversation, pushing both ordinary citizens and political leaders to act. The movement began as a heartfelt effort, one artist trying to help a community often overlooked. But as more stories of need surfaced, the campaign gained serious momentum. Soon, powerful figures began responding, starting with Minnie Thabo Chiwenga, the wife of Vice President Constantino Chiwenga. She stepped forward and donated wheelchairs in support of Greatman's mission. And then came the moment that sent headlines flying. At State House, President Emmerson Mnangagwa donated vehicles and wheelchairs. Great man, Sipho Muchengwa and 3 other beneficiaries were handed Mahindra vehicles. The president also announced a donation of 50 wheelchairs to Zimbabwe's 10 provinces, 5 each. On the surface, this sounds like a beautiful, heartwarming intervention. A leader who listens. A government stepping in. A crisis being addressed. But beneath the public smiles and photo moments lies a deeper truth, one that Zimbabweans are increasingly discussing in private. The donations, while generous, expose the cracks that have long existed. They show a government responding only when pressure builds, when social media lights up, when a high-profile figure raises their voice. The real question Zimbabweans are asking is this: why did it take a musician's SOS call for action? Why wasn't this system already in place? Zimbabwe's disability crisis isn't a small issue. The 2022 national census revealed that 9.5% of Zimbabweans live with disabilities, nearly 1 in 10 citizens. Yet the services, structures, and support systems do not reflect this reality. For many families living with disability, daily life is a constant struggle. Access to healthcare. Campaigns like Greatman's will continue to be necessary. Because the people cannot wait. The needs are real. And the time for real change is long overdue. Thank you so much for tuning in to Zimbabwe Reloaded. If you found this analysis powerful, eye-opening, or emotional, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a deep dive like this. Let me know in the comments. Do you think the government is helping, or just reacting to pressure? See you in the next. Assistive devices, school, transportation, employment, everything requires a fight. Greatman's campaign didn't expose a lack of wheelchairs. It exposed a lack of a functioning system. And this is where the conversation becomes uncomfortable. Zimbabwe is a signatory to 2 major international frameworks focused on disability rights, the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and the African Charter on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. These agreements require governments to eliminate discriminatory laws, implement accessible systems, and support people with disabilities in meaningful, sustainable ways. But when people with disabilities are still depending on public pleas, donations, and charity events, it becomes clear that the spirit of these conventions remains trapped on paper. The National Disability Policy, introduced with much excitement, promised a new era. The government spoke about moving away from treating people with disabilities as victims or charity cases. They said disability issues would no longer be left to one ministry alone, but instead would be a multi-ministerial responsibility. Yet the reality on the ground tells a different story. If the policy truly worked, then Greatman's campaign would not have been necessary. The system would already be meeting people's needs. Wheelchairs and assistive devices would be accessible through structured programs, not emergency interventions sparked by viral posts. The government is currently working on the Persons with Disabilities Bill, which is expected to replace the outdated Disabled Persons Act. The bill is meant to align the country with modern standards and international obligations. And while this is a positive step, progress is slow and implementation remains uncertain. Parliament's own portfolio committee has recommended stronger measures, including the creation of a national disability fund that would guarantee monthly grants for people with disability. The committee emphasized that assistance should be based on human rights, not charity. This shows that even within government structures, professionals understand the urgency and the gaps. But despite these recommendations, despite the policies, despite the conventions, the lived reality of Zimbabweans with disabilities is still defined by struggle and neglect. And it should not take a celebrity like great men to remind the government of its responsibilities. This entire episode, from the campaign's launch to the president's donations, sends a clear message: there is a failure somewhere within the system, and ordinary citizens are filling the gap. Great man's work is remarkable. His impact is undeniable. His voice has become a megaphone for a community that has too often gone unheard. But his campaign also shines a light on a deeper truth: Zimbabwe is leaving an entire constituency behind, despite political promises that no one and no place will be left behind. When a musician has to send out an SOS for wheelchairs. When communities rely on well-wishers instead of national programs. When disability rights exist on paper but not in practice. It shows, without question, that the system is not working. Great Man's campaign has done more than collect wheelchairs. It has exposed the gap between policy and reality. It has shown the power of individuals. It has highlighted the desperation of families who have been forgotten. And it has forced leadership to react. Whether the momentum continues, whether the government responds with real, long-term solutions, and whether disability rights finally take center stage, that remains to be seen. But what is clear is this: Great Man's plea is not just a call for wheelchairs. It is a call for justice. A call for dignity. A call for a Zimbabwe that includes everyone, not only when cameras are watching but every single day. And until the government builds the structures, systems, and support networks that Zimbabweans with disabilities